All the frustrations Canadians have with China rising to the fore again after the news came out that arbitrarily detained Canadian Michael Spavor has been sentenced to 11 years in prison. This is after being held in very bad conditions for almost 1,000 days. Michael Spavor and, of course, Michael Kovrig, both believed to be held as basically hostages in retaliation for the lawful arrest of Huawei CFO Meng Wanzhou. I want to talk today about an issue that I've written about before, I've discussed before. I think we need to revisit it and really talk about its importance in light of all of this, as we're having renewed conversations about how to deal with Canada's relationship with China, particularly now that we're having an election and we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of foreign affairs issues. And that issue I want to speak about is document number 9. This notorious document that first appeared a number of years ago, right after Xi Jinping first became the leader of the Chinese Communist Party, after he started calling the shots. Document 9 is this document that was sent around to senior bureaucrats and senior officials in the Chinese Communist Party and then the government apparatus, laying out the way things are going to roll under Xi Jinping and the values that are to be encouraged, and most particularly the ones that are to not be encouraged. The big no-nos, all the no-nos that the chief bureaucrats should not be doing unless they want to run afoul of the way Xi Jinping wants things to operate. And what's so interesting is all of the things in this document that he says don't do, they're basically the Western values, Western ideals, which he really frowns upon. And in this document, they talk about things like freedom of the press, human rights, as they are traditionally discussed in the West. And here's one key one to understanding what's going on with the two Michaels: an independent judiciary. So there are all these things that we sort of hold to be givens, because generally when it comes to our allies and G7 nations, and when we have a lot of these sort of global cocktail parties, a lot of the main players at those events, they are political leaders who govern nations that largely follow those same sort of democratic principles, key ideals. And when we sit around and we talk about foreign affairs or diplomacy or what have you, we're kind of all following the same rules. And yet those are all the rules that Xi Jinping says, we're not going to do them. And guys, please do not let them take root in China. That's not how they roll. So independent judiciary, a thing that we take very seriously in Canada, as we should, the United States, UK, France, all of our other big allies, similar things. In China, under Xi Jinping and under the Chinese Communist Party, well, there's no such thing. I mean, the Chinese Communist Party, which is the political party that obviously governs China in an authoritarian way right now, they say, well, if we want to have a say in the outcome of court processes, that's what we're going to do. There's not this independent judge thing. There's not this sort of this broader ideal of justice that is separated from the Communist Party values. I mean, to us, that's kind of crazy to think that that would happen. Of course, you have your liberal, your NDP, your conservative. Different ones are in power different times. They're bringing in different pieces of legislation, but you still have the courts and the Supreme Court and the separation of powers and so forth. That's not how it operates under Xi Jinping. So one of the challenges when we have these discussions about what to do with the two Michaels and you know, how to come to their defense in a legal sense or in a sort of rallying our allies to come to their defense on the international stage, is we have to make sure we don't fall into the trap of projecting our principles and our ideals onto China, into thinking that the way we have these negotiations, or just the way we talk about how to deal with China moving forward as, you know, regular folks and news consumers here in Canada, that we don't make the mistake of thinking that they operate the way we do. And that's why I think document number 9, understanding what it's all about, what it says, and how it really personifies the Xi Jinping agenda, it's a thing that everybody's got to know about and discuss and kind of internalize. Because, well, before you get your starting points going in terms of how you respond and react to China, you got to know what their starting points are. And Xi Jinping, pretty transparent, articulating them in documents just like that.